All right. Welcome to Sideboard MTG. My name's Eric, and today we're going to be playing Teferi Control for our Patreon games. Now, this deck is by Aarron. Now, this is a pure Teferi deck. There are a few other win cons. We've got a Gideon, Torrential Gearhulk, but other than that, we plan on using Teferi, gaining complete control of the game. This is a control deck. I know some of you guys absolutely love control, so hopefully I'll play it well here in our showcase game, and maybe we won't just get run over by red deck. We'll see. Hope you like the show. If you do, give it that thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As always, if you guys want to play this deck or any other deck, Manatraders has got you covered. Check the link in the description box below. There's a coupon code down there. The new coupon doesn't really roll off the tongue, so just check the description box. You'll see it. But it's still 15% for your first 3 months when you sign up using it. So check it out. It's Manatraders. Great service. It's how I run all these decks, and for me it was a game changer. I think it can be for you too. Either way, we've got a killer Teferi deck here, and we're running 4 Teferi. Like, just straight up, we've got 4 Teferi going on. This is it. I mean, it's all about resolving that Teferi, making sure Teferi is here. This card's not in your collection one. It's right there. Anyway, we've got a lot of other ways to take control of the deck. Teferi is our win con. For those of you that don't know how Teferi is a win con, first off, you can usually just make your opponent scoop with him, especially if you ultimate Teferi. And I love ultimating Teferi. You just start drawing cards, and it just gets ridiculous. But anyway, Teferi is an awesome planeswalker. Some people have said that it can possibly rival Jace the Mind Sculptor because of its +1 ability is just so powerful. Let's go ahead and read that for you. You're going to +1 Teferi, draw a card, and at the beginning of your next upkeep, untap 2 lands. Now, you'll notice that the deck is built to have 11 2-drops. So, now not all of those can be played at instant speed. So, search for Azcanta will not be played at instant speed. You'll be playing that on your turn, but you can tap those 2 lands and then uptick Teferi and untap those 2 lands, and you're completely untapped. So, I mean, Teferi allows you to do some really cool things. I do want to mention that unless you're willing to untap your opponent's lands, you need to at least float mana before your main phase or with the trigger on the stack. You need to float some mana if you don't have 2 lands tapped already. Otherwise, you're going to untap your opponent. And with as many, cycling lands and things like that, giving our opponents free cycles, it's not what I would want to do. So just remember that when you're playing your Teferis, that this is not a May ability. If you draw that card, you will be untapping 2 lands, whether they're yours or someone else's, as long as there's 2 tap lands to target. So other than that, we've got a lot of 2 mana spells. Like I mentioned, we've got Blink of an Eye, we've got Seal Away, Essence Scatter, and then for 3 mana we've got a playset of Disallow. We do have Gideon. Now I mentioned there's not a lot of other win cons. We've got 2 Gideons and a Torrential Gearhulk in the main board. Other than that, our Meal or Teferi emblem is the win con. I mean, if you get someone with a Teferi emblem, there is a point where you draw more cards than they can actually stop. Now, this deck's actually not got a lot of card draw in it, but it does have 2 Pull from Tomorrow. So a Pull from Tomorrow late, and especially after you've hit a Teferi ultimate, a Pull from Tomorrow just absolutely devastates the opponents, even if they have drawn a bunch of lands from your Settle the Wreckage. So we also have got Syncopate. This can be used at 2 mana. Fumigate, just kind of wiping up the board. Of course, I mentioned the Settle the Wreckage, and we have our backup copy of Settle the Wreckage or Blink or something like that. Now, in the main board, if maybe your opponent doesn't want to scoop to a Teferi ultimate, maybe your opponent doesn't want to scoop to being in absolute control of the game, and you're stuck just Teferi. Teferi's Neg 3 ability. You can play Teferi, put target non-land permanent into its owner's library 3rd from the top. You'll target Teferi with its own Neg 3 ability. It will put him on top of your library. If you have 0 cards, you can't put it 3rd from the top, so it'll just be the top card of your library, and then you can just draw another card. At that point, you are having to card for card your opponent, but at that point you probably have already reached control of the game. And that's kind of, one of the things that you do have to kind of play around. Like your opponent can start to get ahead of you a little bit, so you do need to make sure that your cards line up with your opponent's cards very well. But most of the time, our opponents are going to have a lot of dead cards against us because all of their removal spells are going to be kind of blank. So other than that, though, we do have to worry about Orazca's Contempt hitting our Gideons or our Teferis or something like that. But most of the time, we can get away with having a Disallow or a Blink of an Eye or something like that to protect our Teferi. So that is the main board. It's pretty straightforward. Just 2 colors. This allows us, to run a lot of colorless lands, like 3 Field of Ruin and or for Arch of Orazca. Arch of Orazca is just great. Most of the time, when we get to the Gideon or the City's Blessing, Gideon emblem, the City's Blessing. Most of the time, we're actually just going to get there with lands, maybe a couple enchantments, but most of the time it's just going to be lands. Now, in the sideboard here, we do have Gideon's Reproach. We've got Aether Meltdown, 3 copies of Negate, 2 Sorcerous Spyglass. We never want to call Teferi with this. Now, I know it's really good for Teferi, but we want to call something like the Scarab God or Hazoret because, we want to get them in that situation where they can't swing with Hazoret. But if they can still just start pitching cards with Hazoret, that's not really good for us either. Every mountain turning into a shock, something like that. You just don't want that to happen. So now we do have a couple extra win cons here in the sideboard, and those are 2 Lyra Dawnbringers and Walking Ballista. Most of the time, these are going to come in against your red decks. Like against red deck, one of the best things you can possibly do to defeat a red deck is just kill them. There's normally not a lot of ways to gain life, and they usually contain more than 20 points of burn throughout the entire deck. If you just add up 4 lightning strikes and 4 shocks, you're looking at at 20 points of burn. So even if they're not running absolutely anything else, they do run 20 points of burn in most red decks. And then if they get an extra shock from lightning strike, from anything else like a Hazoret or any hit, then at that point they don't need to draw that extra burn. So you can't really go that all the way through effect with Teferi unless you plan on countering every burn and dealing with every creature, which it could be done. I mean, we do have enough spells to actually stop most of it, but we actually can't stop all of the burn. If you'll notice, as far as counter spells go, we would have to hit Syncopate and Disallow and Negate all on the burn spells alone. That would leave us 1 additional counter spell that could be used on anything other than burn. So those are we couldn't actually counter 8 spells unless we hit absolutely every one of our counter spells that basically what I'm saying, Essence Scatter wouldn't work. So you don't want to take that line. You want to bring in something like Lyra, Walking Ballista. You want to end the game against red deck. So that is the sideboard. We do have 2 Invoke the Divines. These are really good against Heart of Kieran and things like that. Heart of Kieran will swing at you and then you gain that 4 life back. That's pretty good. But it is instant speed. I mean, you can actually maybe time walk them. They crew up with their turn 3, and then they go to swing with a Heart of Kieran. You kill the Heart of Kieran and they're tapped down. So you kind of buy a little bit of extra time there. So that's not really bad. I like Invoke the Divine. Plus, it will get an enchantment if you need to do that in case someone has something like Ixalan's Binding on your Teferi or something. But hopefully we can avoid some Ixalan's Binding on our Teferis. Now, this is probably going to be a long game, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it, and we're gonna see where it goes. See if we can get tournament practice, if there's anyone. Looks like there is. Jake the Snake 31. Well, what's up, Jake? Okay. Here we go. So we won the dice roll. We would love to go first. Absolutely any advantage we can have. I'm missing a blue land for this Disallow, but the fact that I have the Settle makes me feel like I can catch up. It's not a great hand, but we do have lands. I'm willing to keep it, and we're just gonna start with a. I think we're gonna start with the Plains. And then we'll just pass. Not necessarily letting him know that we're blue-white yet. Okay, so he's got an Evolving Wilds. Jake's going to start a little bit slow here. So we'll see what happens. I would have really liked to have a search for Azcanta right there. I think I would have went ahead and run it out. I think the only time you don't want to run a search for Azcanta out early is if you're facing against like some kind of red deck or something. Like you sometimes just don't have time for it. So, man, come on, blue land off the top island. Well, unfortunately, this is about the best we're going to get. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this memorial here. I love this card. This card's so good. You just... Ooh. What are we playing against? Oh man, is this that 4-color spice deck? Sifter Worm deck? I don't think we actually worry about this deck very much. We'll see. I think I wait one more turn to go for the Teferi. He missed a land drop, though. I mean, he's got 5 converted mana cost. But if I wait one more turn, I can protect myself from Hour of Devastation. And I think we need to. Thematic Compass, that's fine. Okay, so we will Teferi. Draw a card and then untap some lands. If this resolves, I mean, I don't think that he has removal or counter spells in the main board. If this is indeed that deck, it does look like it. Gift of Paradise, Thematic Compass. Todd Stevens, he and Saffron Olive and a couple of the other guys, like they had some really good progress with this this deck. So in the Vintage Super League, so we've seen a lot of people playing it lately. I played it against someone else just a couple videos ago, maybe even in the stream last night. I can't remember exactly when I played it, but I know I've played it quite a few times. Now this does tap for blue mana without having to pay. I know a lot of us are used to the deserts and things, so. Like, our big worry here is Sifter Worms. I don't think he really has enough threats to really bother us. So we're just going to untap these two. He's going to consign. I'm okay with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be a problem, kind of, but we're not really looking to win that direction. I also think I pitch Seal Away Settle here if he does Oblivion me. I mean, he definitely looks like he's going for the Oblivion here. Yes, I could have disallowed that, but I really want to keep my disallow right now. I could have went Seal Away. And again, we're just going to untap some lands and just keep going for that Teferi Ultimate. Haphazard Bombardment. Enters the battlefield, choose 4 non-enchantment permanents you don't control and put an aim counter on each of them. At the beginning of your end step, if 2 or more permanents you don't control have aim counters on them, destroy one of those permanents at random. I think we disallow this. I don't think we really have a choice to not disallow that. Haphazard bombardment. Okay. We do want just as many lands as possible here. So we're going to cast Teferi. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I'm just going to pass. Like, I could cast a spell here, but I kind of want to make every spell count. So I'm just going to elect not to cast anything here. I mean, it allows us to keep up this disallow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got quite a bit of mana available. Haphazard bombardment. And of course, we're just going to hit that disallow. Going to counter the haphazard bombardment. We hit yet another land. I actually don't remember haphazard bombardment being in that deck. So we're just going to tap 2 land and swing for 5 and pass. We've got a really good thing going on right now. Like, we can blink of an eye and use, like, we can blink our Torrential Gearhulk back and then just recast it. So not a lot going on in the graveyard other than, just getting blink. So more than likely, like, we're just worried about like a Sifter Worm or something. I mean, haphazard could become a problem. The fact that he had multiples is not really cool. Spring. Okay, so he's just gonna. All right, he's gonna ramp a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 7. I think I'm going to blink the Thematic Compass here with the trigger on the stack. So we'll just blink it. I mean, it lets us get in, a lot more damage. So he's just going to tap out, get yet another land, put that in his hand, help thin his deck out. Oh, nice. And then we actually get a Field of Ruin for our troubles. And another blink. Nice. Well, we're getting much, much closer to just unbeatable. I think we've long ago gained control of the game here. Waiting on that pull from tomorrow to really set us off. Hour of Devastation. So this probably cause a scoop. All right, so that's 3. He's got 3. Let's make it 4. Now this lets us leave up our blink to just blink away something again. He scoops at that. Okay. Yeah, the Teferi ultimate's really hard to deal with. I definitely think we want the negates here. I don't Yeah. I don't know about seal away here. I think I'm going to pitch the seal aways and just kind of rely on settle. Just kind of keep those settles around. I don't want to like really go without my settles. We've got a couple of extra cards we probably want to get rid of. Fumigate's probably going to be really good. But then again, cast out will be fine as well. I think we can get away without the Fumigates. So I'm just going to kind of rely on the settles, the Torrential Gearhulk, you know, that sort of thing, and we're just gonna take it back. Essence Scatter, maybe like shave an Essence Scatter for a Walking Ballista or something in Game 3. If we go to a Game 3, winning Game 1 is like really good for us. I did use a lot of time winning that Game 1, so all right, so we're gonna keep. This is not a horrible hand. We do get to hold up Essence Scatter on too, so. And we're on the draw. I don't think I cycle this cast out here. I really don't. I mean, I could, but I don't think we do. I think that he had enough really powerful cards that we want to try to like stop him from being able to get his mana, to get the proper colors he needs. We did see that, you know, he's definitely the Hour of Devastation deck that we've seen earlier, so we need to kind of play around that. This doesn't Essence Scatter is kind of like the card that I probably should have taken out but didn't. So probably going to be kicking myself for that. Now we are going to like just try to get this Gideon up above our. Okay, yeah. So he's getting his ramp here. We will have to worry about the ramp spells. Although if we can get down our, yeah, he's holding our. He's getting ready for the hour. So he can hour next turn. I think we give him a Gideon to make him cast it. I think we do. I mean, if he just cast Hour here to deal with Gideon, then okay. He did not. Okay, well, I'm going to play the Ipnu Rivulet. Going to, again, try to get Gideon above Hour. And I'm feeling a lot better about Disallow. We have our cast out up. So, I mean, Gift of Paradise. I guess we just like let him have all the things and just stop all of his big stuff. Although I could cast that out. We can wait. We can wait. So again here, I'm just upticking Gideon. Mainly because I'm just playing like super conservative. He was smart enough to place this on a non-basic land. He knows we have Field of Ruin, things like that. Ooh, Memorial to War. That's pretty good. So we don't have any draw spells. I'm still not inclined to use the cast out. I am inclined to start attacking with Gideon now. We got another blue source. That's going to be great. So we are going to attack with Gideon here. We'll see what happens. Okay, so let's count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got a ton of things available. If we cast Teferi, we'll have Disallow available. Yeah. It's go for the Teferi. See if we can draw a card. I mean, he might have like negates or something. Okay, so he's got his own disallows. What is he casting? Unwind. Wow. Wow. Counter target spell. Untap up to 3 lands. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Now he's got 4 mana to do something with. He might actually be able to jump ahead of us here. Do we cycle here? Yeah, let's cycle. I've been hanging on to this for like ever. Yeah, I'm going to cycle off of it. That's not bad. Invoke might be terrific. I mean, if he does get his haphazard bombardment here, he's putting them on our lands. That's going to be bad. Is this it? Is this haphazard? Star of Extinction. Ooh. Brutal. Brutal. All right. Well, we're just going to pass the turn. Haphazard bombardment. All right, so I'm actually going to destroy his Ipnu Rivulet. It's one of the ways that he could really hurt us. So we're going to go get an island. So we'll grab said island. And then we'll pay 1 life. Disallow this. We can't really have this landing on nothing but land. It's just going to be way too devastating. Blink of an eye. Not bad here. Probably pay the life. So yeah, we're just going to pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we may end up casting Invoke here if he just plays land and goes to pass. I'm not really. Let's just bounce it. Draw a card. See if we can get a little something here. I mean, I expect him to just get him an extra land out of his deck. He's got. Oh, he's just going to cast Mine. Another Essence Scatter. That's really bad for us. Really bad. All right, well, we'll pass the turn and go from here. He's got a lot more blue cards than I expected. Thematic Compass. I'm actually not worried about the Thematic Compass. It was just a really good target for us to bounce. He seems to want to do things when we bounce it, so. Haphazard bombardment. Okay. I mean, he's going to put the counters, but I think that as long as it's not on the battlefield, he's not going to get the extra trigger. So I think just getting rid of it's going to be fine. We're going to find out as soon as we get to end step. Yeah. All right, so that bounces. We get another land. I mean, it's not going to be a Gearhulk beatdown, but we've got the 1 Gearhulk. So, I mean, we just need to maintain control of the board. We're not dying right now. And that's exactly what our deck wants to do. Okay, Spring. Go get another land. I mean, then he can mine. I mean, he's technically drawing more cards than we are. So, Hour of promise. We're 100% bouncing a zombie here. The zombie actually presents quite a bit of a threat. I mean, we've got some good ways out though. We can go get some. Yeah, I'm gonna bounce the zombie. We get planes. Cast out. Do we cycle cast out? Scavenger grounds. That's not great. I mean, I can take 2 from this for a little while. I mean, he's got his Arch of Orazca. That bothers me a little bit. I mean, but we're not dying to the zombie right now. Okay. That's not bad. I think I go ahead and cycle this cast out. I'm looking for Teferi. That's going to be decent. We'll wait around for a turn or two here. He more than likely has some type of control, but that should be pretty decent. Definitely want to get as many lands as possible before we fire off this pull from tomorrow. But pull could be exactly what we need to really get back into this game. Not like we're completely out of it. I'm not going to say the advantage bar is like way in his favor. Especially since, we know one of his major win cons is this Sifter Worm. So, yeah, he fires off a Negate. We've got these Essence Scatters that, sure, we just kind of been hanging on to them for a little while anyway. Since, like, this seems to be the big fight. He's got us here. His double Negate, we just didn't have the mana for it. Which is kind of fine, I guess. I mean, the Sifter Worm's definitely going to gain him some life. It's a big threat that we've got to worry about. This pull from tomorrow should be good, though. Hour of Promise enters the battlefield, or enters the zone. Okay, so we take 2. Like, Settle would be great off the top, right? Settle the Wreckage. Even Teferi would be great. So, more than likely just going to take my beats here. Considering we don't have a lot of options, and then just try to get the biggest pull we can out. And I am kind of curious if, like, maybe I should play around another counter spell. But I'm going to just kind of go for it. Pull for 7. I mean, if he has a counter spell, he's got us here, and we'll go to game 3. Unless we like top deck a Settle. Discard 1. So that's pretty sweet for us. I mean, we've got 8 cards, so we're getting rid of something here. Now, this allows us to leave up Disallow and Settle the Wreckage. I know, like, if we played the Memorial, we would have been 1 mana short. And if we didn't use something, we were going to lose something. We kind of want all of our spells. I think it just take this too. Disallow this. I mean, we will have to like stop the zombie at some point, so he has to start swinging with the worm. Maybe we can get to a Teferi and not have to worry about that. We do have a Memorial of Genius coming down next turn. There is a Teferi. So we'll draw a card. Move to end step. And we'll see what he does here. He may have like a consign or something he wants to cast. Arch. All right. I mean, the Arch is really, really good card. We are going to hold off on the pull from tomorrow for a while. All right, so we fire off Settle. And we've got up Essence Scatter and Negate, another Settle. I mean, he's got 4 cards in hand. He's drawing multiple cards per turn, but yeah. Haphazard Bombardment. Well, we'll attempt to stop that one. There we go. Negate was good. Is this another Sifter Worm? It is. We can deal with that. Spring to Mind revealed. That gains him a ton of life. Gideon. All right, so let's draw a card, and then probably just going to play Gideon. Yeah. And then we're just going to say that can't deal damage. We'll go to move to end step. I'm going to try to remember that. So I do recommend that you guys don't actually yield to that trigger unless you're going to remember to tap mana. So you know, I'm pretty good about remembering to tap the mana, but if you don't, you'll end up with it resolving and you're stuck with untapping your opponent's land. Okay, so he's drawing a card. Getting this Teferi Ultimate off is going to be kind of key for us. He can have the Spring. Does he even have basics to go get anymore? He does not. He's just casting Spring to put mine in the graveyard. So, you know, countering that, he still gets it in the graveyard. So, no real point. I mean, it's a 4-color deck. The chances of him having many basics left are pretty slim. We're definitely not worried about this Thematic Compass. And again, I'm not casting the pull from tomorrow until after we get to the Teferi Ultimate. So we'll go here. Field of Ruin, that's decent. And I'm actually just going to draw 2 cards. Ipnu Rivulet, Syncopate. Okay. We'll pass. And we'll untap these 2. He is milling himself. We are going to discard Syncopate. I think the Ipnu Rivulets might actually be decent here. Oh, he milled me. He milled me. We do need to hit that Teferi ultimate, though. Gift of Paradise, that's fine. We've got 9 minutes to finish this, so no point in casting anything. No point in milling or anything like that. I mean, maybe there's a point in milling. Yep, I did it. I just said that I wouldn't do it, and I did it. So we're untapping the opponent now. Not that it matters at this point, but we did it. So we'll negate that. Does he have counter spells? Arch of Orazca is just going to draw a spell that way. I think we Field of Ruin his Ipnu Rivulet this turn. Because we do have to worry about Ipnu. I mean, we're down to 12 cards, so. So we can't pull for too many. Sifter Worm. All right, well, I'll Essence Scatter that. So you go for the counter. We will negate. I mean, we don't really have to fight over this Sifter Worm. It's not 100% necessary. I am going to pop that Ipnu Rivulet. I mean, we are going for the mill plan here. Okay. So he's going to mill us. We're down to 8 cards in library. We get Irrigated Farmland. I'm going to Ultimate Teferi. I'm going to play Teferi. +1 Teferi. And for now, we'll just start getting rid of threats. So I guess we get rid of Scavenger Ground. And then I will plus Gideon here. What does he have? Is he using the Scavenger Ground? Okay. I'm going to cycle. I'm going to pop the Arch of Orazca. Even though Arch lets him draw more cards, we do have to go on this game plan. Play a land for the turn. We're going to uptick Gideon here on the Sifter Worm and pass the turn. Now we've got 5 cards left in the library. That's some risky business. We are going to pop as many deserts as possible first. Like, we just don't want him to have some other Ipnu Rivulet or something like that. So we've got, I can go ahead and pull the rest of the deck, but then I have to worry about like whatever is still in his hand. So I'm probably going to do that. I mean, we can get there naturally. Yeah, we've got 7 minutes to do this, so I don't want to mess it up. So I am going to sacrifice a desert. We're going to mill him. Let's undo that. I'll go to the blue. And we're going to sacrifice it to itself. So we mill him for 4. We'll do it again. So we'll mill him. Sacrifice the Ipnu Rivulet. We mill him for 4 again. He's got to survive. So he can shuffle everything back into his library here, which will help defeat us a little bit. That's not bad for the opponent. So we'll untap, upkeep, draw, and I think we destroy the memorial. So with the memorial, I think he has to like destroy something of ours. He's going to get our tap land, okay, or our dual land. So I'm going to tap it. We can draw one more time here. We're just going to do this. I'm just going to deal with the Sifter Worm now. I do need to hit a counter spell of some sort. So there's nothing we can prevent damage from, really. Can he force us to draw a card? I don't think so. So we'll just get his basic land that has the gift on it. We do get a cast out here. Next turn we're looking at... hope I didn't do this wrong. 2 cards left in our library. Okay. That's fine. Ooh, I gotta untap his lands yet again. We have to discard. We'll discard Search for Azcanta. Pull from tomorrow will be one we'll discard as well. I think we go for blue sources here. All right, so 1 card left. We're going to be playing Teferi. And we're going to put target permanent back on top of its owner's library. And then we're going to get the Gideon emblem. Ooh, I messed up. Should have left open the blue. Let's pray that doesn't cost us. I mean, he's got 0 cards in in hand. I mean, I expect him to like shuffle everything back into our libraries, but he knows I've still got a Teferi in there. All right, so he casts Survive. We definitely just let that happen. What is this McAfee? Get out of here. Wow, what a thing. What a thing. What is he casting? Star of Extinction. Did I just lose the game? I don't think so. Maybe we did. I don't think we lost the game. So, yeah, we're going to hit blue sources. We've got Cast Out. We'll cycle, draw. This is at hitting the other desert here, of course. He put our deserts back in our library. Which isn't bad. I mean, does he get Sifter Worm back? Gift of Paradise. It's fine. I can't believe he put it on a land that he tapped. We do have 3 minutes left to do this, so I am going to try to speed up the play here a little bit. Yeah, I had to tap that blue land. So yes, we use it to its ability. He mills. What's he got going on? He's got 0 cards in hand. He wants to destroy something. He mills. He does get a consign there. Yeah, he can destroy land. That's fine. So we play Ipnu Rivulet and we pass. Now, if he goes to Memorial of War, I think I disallow that. I mean, we do have to make it through like 13 more turns here. No, we don't do that. Let's go ahead and try to get rid of the Memorial of War. Now, if he gets rid of the blue, I'll let it happen. Float a blue. Yeah, we move. Play land. And say go. I mean, he's down to 12. We know that we have Teferi left. I think we got 2 cards left in the library. Haven't hit the Teferi yet. Spring to Mind. He's going to draw some cards. We will discard a Search for Azcanta. We could discard the Pull from Tomorrow. It's not going to help us at all. Hour of Promise. Don't think he's got deserts he could go get. Maybe. I mean, if he has an Ipnu Rivulet, we will have to worry about that. He had 2 more Memorials to War. Okay, well, I'm going to cast this with a kicker. Really? Eating up all my time. Just going to actually go to... I have to play fast here, and for some reason I was having a major problem with that. So we have 1 card left. We play Teferi. We have to downtick Teferi. Okay, so we go for the Disallow. Okay, so there's his Negate. Teferi resolves. We put Teferi on top of its owner's library and pass. I mean, he does get a memorial here. He does get to destroy something. I hope he doesn't have another Negate. Please don't have another Negate. Sifter Worm we can deal with. I mean, we don't have... He's got to consign to Oblivion. Okay. So we just get rid of that. I have an Irrigated Farmland, so we can cycle it, grab our Teferi, and we lose. We lose. We lose. Lose on time, but I don't think we lost there. I don't think we could have lost there in like going to time. He only had a couple turns left. I just didn't play it fast enough there in the end. The deck is like really, really hard to navigate when it comes to, you know, the clock. I think the clock is probably the biggest thing that you have to worry about with the deck. It was a lot of fun to play, though. I mean, yeah, we were constantly doing something. You have to worry about each little thing. We did really good at making sure that he couldn't kill us. We actually took more life from our lands than we did from the opponent. Really spicy brew by the opponent, you know, that Saffron Olive build. I hate that we didn't actually win the match, but we were definitely in control of the deck, and I think we more than showcased the power of the deck, the type of thing that it does, and we even got to showcase that how you got to put Teferi on top, and you just do that. We had enough counter spells to beat the opponent who tried to save a counter spell. The opponent played really, really well there at the end. And then we just got beat by the clock. But other than that, I really like the deck. I don't think there's a lot that I would do to actually change the deck. In paper, this is going to operate so well. Just because you're going to be able to churn through these things much quicker, and you're going to be able to evaluate the board much quicker, evaluate your opponent, that sort of thing. So I really like the deck. I think this is more than likely one of the most powerful versions that you could run of the Teferi deck. However, there is one card I would put in the deck that I believe this deck is missing. One of the coolest things you can do after you actually get that Teferi emblem, and you can get those Teferi emblems, guys. I mean, this is a real control deck. It can hold everything back in order to get that emblem. And one of the ways you can really win is just by casting a commit to memory. With the Teferi emblem, commit or memory is not as bad as you would think it is. Even though you're going to give your opponent 7 new cards, you're going to draw 7 cards and get 7 Teferi emblem triggers. So I would definitely put a couple commit to memories in the deck. It also gives it an extra answer for Carnage Tyrant. I know that this deck can deal with Carnage Tyrant, but there's a couple things sometimes you just want to commit those just to deal with them, like Shala or something like that, so then you can get in that settle. So there's a lot of really cool things you can do with commit. I think the deck can afford to use commit. I mean, most of the time we were casting Blink of an Eye for 4 mana anyway, so you can get away with the commit. I do like the flexibility of Blink of an Eye. You can use it really early to kind of stay the opponent back a little bit, keep that life total nice and high until you get to your Settle the Wreckage or your Fumigate. So Blink of an Eye is really good for that. But for the most part, like I just think that a commit to memory in the deck so that you could just cast memory and put everything back into your library. You'd notice there that if we would have had some way to do that a little bit earlier, we might have been able to, put more cards back into our library and then just kind of survive off that Teferi Ultimate, which is a lock. It is a 100% lock. You get to the point where they have nothing on the battlefield. They play a land. They say go. You draw for the turn. Destroy their land. And I mean that's happened to a lot of us, and that's just kind of what Teferi can do. So I do like what we had here. This was a lot of fun to be able to do. The Teferi Ultimates and things like that. One of the reasons I normally don't play this deck, though, is because I'm always worried about the clock. And, if you are going to play this deck, I would say from the very beginning, you more than likely need to be worried about that clock. And again, if I played it more, I would be more adamant about making sure I made my plays quickly and swiftly and moving through the turns and trying not to waste time and stuff. So, again, like, if you're not talking to someone, like I'm trying to talk to you guys and things like that, and you're just focusing on playing, I think that you won't eat up that extra few minutes of the clock, and which I did, and we only needed an extra 30-40 seconds there, so I'm sure that I lost more than 30 or 40 seconds just kind of talking around. So I think the deck is definitely playable on MTGO. Some decks are just really, really good, but you can't really play them on MTGO because, that 25-minute your side time limit. So, that's I think this one is playable, whereas there are some that aren't. But if you do play it, you do need to be really, really conscious of that time limit. And maybe that's another plus for our showcase here. We showed that this is a go-to time deck. Plus, we won game one, then we spent a lot of time in game two to just end up losing that and then moving on to game three. So, maybe if you can get your 2-0s and things, but I definitely think it's one of the more powerful decks out there. I just don't think I would run it without a commit to memory in the deck somewhere. But I like Blink of an Eye. Blink of an Eye is just a really good card, but I would like that memory to be there at least somewhere so that we can use that Teferi Ultimate, draw 7 new cards, pop 7 of their permanents, and at that point, you can normally just pop 7 lands and just you don't have to worry about anything else. So I mean, it's pretty sweet, pretty sweet. Plus, you can Gearhulk that memory back. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. I liked it. I thought it was really sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck. We do have a green-black dinosaurs deck coming up. I'm going to be recording that probably first thing in the morning. I got a little bit behind later today on my recordings. I was trying to do the arena thing. In the arena, I just can't get it to record. It's choppy. Like all my test videos and everything, they were extremely choppy. The gameplay itself is choppy, and I'm wanting to do this mono red aggro deck that Val 7-0'd with, let you guys get that list. But, worst case scenario, maybe I'll pull it up here on MTGO. You guys can let me know in the comments, if you would be willing to look at an arena singleton deck that was actually, shown on MTGO. Plus, I really don't know if I like the way that they showcase decks there on arena. Like, you can't just pull it up like you can here on MTGO and, just have things set aside. So it's not exactly streamer friendly when it comes to that. And I know they do want to be streamer friendly. So maybe we can give some feedback on some ways that we can have another view, deck view or something like that. So either way, guys, my name's Eric. You've been watching Sideboard MTG play Teferi Control all the way to the clock. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun. And we'll see you next time.